Hello everyone, this is Kurz from Low Mana, bringing you another Shortwatch. Haven't done one of these in a long while, but with Infiltration dropping at BlizzCon, with it featuring more characters than any before it, now seemed like a great time to get back on the wagon. In brief, the short focuses on a Talon operation in Russia, with the express aim of eliminating Katya Volskaya. Unlike with Recall or Trainhopper, this is a purely specialist affair, and so we see Reaper and Widowmaker working together again for the first time since the launch cinematic, only this time joined by Sombra. While Widow and Reaper are committed to the mission, Sombra has her own agenda, and while the short is a showcase for her abilities, it also shows us her motivation as she corners, blackmails, and implicitly threatens Volskaya in order to get closer to her ultimate goal, knowledge and power. First and foremost, I'll run through the four key elements that dominate most of this narrative. The most obvious, establishing the character and motivations of Sombra herself. Secondly, further detail on Talon, their motives and their modus operandi. Thirdly, what Volskaya Industries are up to, and finally, the fact that this short is potentially moving the Overwatch universe forwards in ways that none of the others have even come close to doing. So, to Sombra. Firstly, we get a glimpse at her tech. We know that the bulk of it is her own design and grafted directly to her brain and body, but her translocator and her fingernails, stay with me here, are worth a mention. The translocator is very, very similar to Winston's tech, both the chronal accelerator and his shield generator. The fingernails on her gloves also change size and shape, most notably in the boop scene where they're short, where they're long everywhere else. This implies controlled hard light tech. Could she have pilfered from both Vishkar and Overwatch? Now, a Lorewatch is on the way that will go over her origins, early years, and motivations, but it's safe to say that despite the revolutionary freedom fighter styling she adopted when getting us all to help her hack Lumerico, she's definitely not one of the good guys. She kills multiple guys without blinking an eye throughout the second half of the animation, but it's in Volskaya's office where we really get a sense of just what she's willing to do in order to get closer to the conspiracy that governs the world order. More on that later. She has, as she says, worked extremely hard to set up this meeting. How far that extends we don't know. Is she the one that suggested Talon consider taking out Katya, or is she merely an opportunist getting in on the mission? She has no qualms about betraying the trust, assuming that's even a concept inside Talon, of her comrades in order to further her own goals, so that's certainly possible. It's in the photo of Volskaya's daughter that the dark side of her really shows through though, leaving veiled threats hanging in the air as she makes her very loose demand of being a friend. What would that do to the future of Russia, while handing Katya a photo of her daughter? And of course the now infamous boop, as she departs, that at first glance looks as though she's just being playful, until you rewatch it and see this photo on Katya's desk. Do you think that she's serious about these threats, or is she just pulling on a thread that she knows will work? As for her employers, not since the launch cinematic have we seen multiple Talon operatives at work on a mission together. No, I don't count the standard Talon grunts here, they're just filler. Between the three of them, we can clearly see that they're a well-oiled unit, having likely gone on these kind of missions together multiple times before. This supports what little evidence of Sombra we've had before, such as the Reaper voice line and his hope that she can get something out of a raid on Helix Securities in the old Soldiers comic. She's by no means a newbie in the Talon ranks, she's been there a while. In their unit, Widow is the assassin, although on this occasion she only kills an earring, Reaper is the muscle, and Sombra is a mixture of tech support and infiltration, and they slot into these roles comfortably. Widow, ever the one for composure, is notably shocked when the alarm goes off and the mission gets compromised, which to me suggests stuff like this doesn't happen often. Her look of suspicion when she departs though is something to look out for in future lore. Sombra betraying Talon is a risky strategy. While it seems that Widow didn't have her visor down during Sombra's meeting with Katya, so she wouldn't have been able to see them, she is for all intents and purposes the embodiment of Talon. Reaper may appear more often, but he has his own agenda and, despite what we see in basically every bit of media he's in, is still only flagged as working with Talon, not for them. As such, when Widow looks like that at the end of the short, it's safe to assume that Talon as a whole could be keeping a closer eye on Sombra after this. While we can't say for sure why they wanted to kill Volskaya, generally Talon seem to be the agents of chaos in the world, bent on causing as much disruption as possible. With Katya Volskaya seen as a hero to her people, the great defender of Russia's death would surely throw her country into chaos, especially as they're in the middle of waging a war against the Siberian Omnium. The information that Sombra has, however, would be just as, if not more explosive than her death, so it makes me wonder why, when, and how this arrangement between the Omnics and Volskaya came to exist. If it dates back 30 years, was this arrangement the manner in which Russia came to be the only country in the world that defeated the Omnics without outside assistance? How devastating would that be to the proud nation? To try to understand, let's look at the deal and at the mechs themselves. In design, these new mechs have a distinct whiff of Bastion about them. Granted, it's a standard bipedal design, but they look far more like our Omnic friend than they do the Sviatogor, only with a head and turret replaced by a pilot seat, and the recon submachine gun replaced by a Zarya-esque particle cannon. The real mystery lies in the triple-cored sphere that the Omnic is seen handing over to Katya in Sombra's blackmail evidence. These appear to make up the core of the new mechs, sitting right by the pilot in the armoured core of the machine. Given Volskaya Industries had not apparently built a new mech in 10 years, and these new designs have new guidance systems, I would be astounded if all of this is coincidental. The only other place to my knowledge that we've seen such a sphere is on the statue of Takata Mondata in King's Row. Now, important as it is to point out the differences, a single core for Mondata versus a triple core here, the similarities are striking enough that there has to be a link. The Shambhali's whole ethos surrounded Omnics possessing a soul, and that all life, both human and Omnic, is equal, one within the iris. If that's the case, then could the core be linked to the self-learning, self-improving nature at the heart of Omnic tech? After all, what is more human than that? And it would certainly aid Volskaya Industries in their ability to design and build new weapons of war. Only question is, why would the Omnics give it to her? Which, of course, brings me neatly to my final point, the narrative as a whole. Up until now, we've mostly been building on the history of the Overwatch world. The opening cinematic, Recall, Alive, most of the comics, all happened in the recent past, and set up the world as it is now. While the evidence for this isn't concrete, given everything we know, this seems to be the first that is set right slap bang in the current time period. I'm discounting Dragons, Last Bastion and Hero as they're more standalone, and for God's sake don't mention the Ziggurats. Therefore this is the first short that moves the story forward. Between this and her origin story, we finally get a glimpse at the conspiracy that 76 has been harping on about all this time. In typical narrative fashion, there are hidden puppet masters behind the scenes, manipulating all the major players, from Numerico through to Talon, Volskaya, and even Overwatch itself. Is it this group that Katya answers to? Is she aware of it even? Or is she just seizing a chance opportunity that she believes will help save her people? I'm expecting a whole load more from this web, both on our own channel here and from Blizzard themselves in the coming months. Let me know your thoughts on it and what it means for the future of the Overwatch world in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Shortwatch. We'll have Lorewatch out in the next day or two, and a bunch more videos out alongside it soon. So if you're interested, keep an eye out on the playlists, or better yet, hit that subscribe button. As ever, let me know your thoughts on this short and what you learned from it, and let me know if I missed anything. Until next time, I have been Kurz, this has been Low Mana, thanks for watching.